Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and welcome to another tutorial. This time we are finally going to finish my sister's bag. I know this has been long awaited. I think it's been a year now. I just keep putting it off, and I don't know. I never should have. But let's get into this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one string going horizontal, and I'm going to loop all these other strings onto it. Now, to make this easier for you to kind of follow along with like how I came to this part, I'm going to include my drawing. This is what I worked out using my graph paper. Now, those two dark purples are what the purples are in the middle. And so basically nothing here represents the real colors. The bluish, my normal background thing, or the starting color, is going to be the silver. That way I didn't have to like color in every single thing. So, so you can see kind of how I'm adding the strings along, right? It's hard to really explain sometimes what it is I do. So that's where I think these videos are going to come in handy, because I've just recently had some conversations through Facebook and Instagram in regards to like, how do I do these things or whatever. So this is what this is all about right here. You can follow along. If you look at like the top edges, you can kind of see where everything is coming from and to, right? So the bottom two purple are the actual purple ones. Then the orange is represented by that second kind of the second lighter purple, I guess. And then that purple that was just added is where the green is. And then I'm adding the silvers, and then it'll be where the dark blue is my absolute lightest of the purples. And the trick is, of course, is getting that little V shape. Now the V shape was intended so that way when my sister keeps like her identification card and God knows what other cards, there could be credit cards, whatever else is in there, that she will be able to have like a little spot to get a hold of one in case the whole bag becomes completely full. There's tons of room in this thing, but there's still that hole, just in case. I added the other bit of leather on the other side to help keep it from sliding, because the tension pulling on the string could make it slide. The leather helps prevent that from actually happening. The leather also was easier. If you notice, it was on the right hand side, was holding the horizontal string from being too close to the board, makes it easier to slide the other ones up. All right, so obviously started from the outside, and now I squished it all together tight as I could, work from the other side, and the big magic trick is coming up. This is some pretty advanced stuff. If you are at all squirmy about the idea of making bags or, different whatevers, this might be a little too advanced. But honestly, if you take your time and follow along, see, now look, I had the little part on the side done, and now I'm coming down straight down the edge, and then I'll put the little diamond. This isn't that bad. This isn't, for me, certainly it's not that hard. I think you guys should be able to follow along. And you see now how it's starting to take the shape of the drawing, right? And then see how the dark purple is going to go across. Now we flip it around the other side, and the same thing's going to happen. See? We'll put the other diamond in. And here it's about really trying to shape it at using the clips to kind of hold it in a way to kind of get it to the right shape. So that way, because I know how the diagonal is supposed to go, and I know where the horizontal is. So right now, I've mainly just focused on that left-hand side. The right was off. Now I got them both kind of balanced where they're supposed to be. And now it's about trying to make sure that this diamond ends up squared like it's supposed to be, and that should put everything on track to making this exactly how it was supposed to look. So, all right, I mean, I know I get excited, you know, even like now as I'm like trying to tell you how I did this, it's like, ooh, look at that, look, I did a thing. Yeah, if you look at the drawing will be available on my website, AKAAWOL.com. It'll be in the tutorials under advanced, and it'll be my sister's bag. I come up with some kind of title, something to do with the fact that it's the third or fourth video to it. But yeah, and there'll be a link in the comments. But you can see, right? That's how I got the little dip. Now, mind you, in the past when I've done that dip, I made it bigger. But for this pattern, it didn't see how bigger was better and how I'd actually get it to play out. So it ended up like this, is what it is. So now the trick is joining it to the rest of the stuff I already put together and making that work out. So, and trying to keep the straight rows between where, because it'll be really distinct on a project like this, as far as the bits that are the side, the bits that are the back, and the bits that are the front. So trying to keep everything with the tension even is important, because if I get it wrong and that bit becomes a bit wonky, it will be really highly noticeable, because despite the fact that everything is kind of relatively in purples, there is a bunch of contrast. By the way, contrast makes it a whole lot easier. The middle part and the other side kept throwing me off. I had a few mistakes. I had to go back and be like, wait, nope, that's not it. Having a higher contrast when mixing them up would definitely make this a whole lot easier. And I think I'm going to play around with some ideas of mixing bracelet designs where it looks like it's two bracelets, but it's all one solid piece being made. So if you think that's a good idea, leave a comment, because I'm thinking that could be a lot of fun. All right. So you can see as this buildup is going, I'm going to quickly get to the point to where I'm going to have to put it all together, right? That's kind of a thing too, right? I mean, well, okay, I can bring this down a ways, but oh, there's my robot. Hey, oh, and there he goes. Okay, so trying to work in an area as long as possible will save you time, because if you have to keep changing the clips and the setup, that just it just takes more time. Every time you have to shift it, that's just taking away time. And I try to work as efficiently as possible. I was once told by a boss that I was incredibly lazy, and I was like, "Excuse me?" He says, "No, but you find ways of doing things to make it easier for yourself." I'm like, "Oh, kind of a compliment." But he meant it in the nicest way. So yeah, that's, if you are smart about how you approach it and work out to where, you know, you stay focused on one area, the whole thing will go a whole lot faster. Here I had to get back into the swing of this. This is, again, supposed to look like three bracelets that make up the entire backside of the bag. And like I said, there was, like right there, that's a mistake. And I will come back and I have to take that out, because you can see that that's, how far did I get before I realized? But yeah, it happens. And once I figured that out, yeah, I was pretty devastated. Like I said, even at my level, I can make a mistake, especially something like this. And I think this would have been a whole lot easier. See, when I started doing that particular setup in the back, those were like, that was my favorite project at the time. I was really into those two particular designs in general. And once I got back in the swing of things, I was fine with it. But because I kind of let it go for a while and moved on to other things that were exciting, yeah, I got a little rusty there. So it is what it is. I just, want to let you guys know I'm not perfect at this. I do have to take out knots. I have a needle on standby just in case I need it. So, and I want this thing to be perfect, so you can see, like right now, despite the fact that the whole thing is sitting in the clips a little bit cockeyed, just to make it kind of easier for me, that the lines between where the bracelets are themselves, those are really, really straight. And that's very deliberate. And it requires diligence to keep it that straight and that deliberate. I kind of messed up there. I didn't get some video for where that first joined on the other side, but it's basically the same. And it's just like all their other bags. When the two pieces come together, it's just like putting two bracelets together. I'm following the pattern down. You can see that pink is the light green on the left-hand side of the pattern. This is the spot where there's the 3 knots coming down in the row, making 9 in the square. The tricky part there is that since the side of the bag actually makes up the extra knot, trying to make sure that you're bouncing it correctly. Like I said, I should probably just do a whole tutorial just on how that works, because that bit is a little bit more troublesome. If you wanted to make a bag like this and you were kind of starting out, I would say make the whole thing one pattern, because that's obviously much, much easier than trying to make it, what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4 different patterns, a couple of them duplicating. So yeah, that's kind of what makes this thing so special. I wanted my sister to have something really cool. So, and that's my, when she gets to show her friends, they're going to know that, like, wow, somebody put a lot of work into this, because look how crazy it is. So, and she's probably watching this, mind you, I held off on the video until it got to her. So, although it's being recorded while it's actually in transit. So I have not yet received a response, but I'm sure she's going to love it. I mean, who wouldn't love this thing? It's gorgeous. So, yeah, you can see how the little in the corners, how I have to bounce the string out. It's yeah, that takes some that takes a lot of thinking. And yeah, that little pause in there was probably me trying to figure out, wait, what am I doing? So yeah, not perfect by any stretch. Anyways, so that's about that. Okay, we are, oops, got some paper in there. We are set. Check this out. It is all sewn up. It's kind of a little bit funky down here, but that's kind of what happens when you have the two different things sew up like that. These edges are pretty good though. And you can see it's starting to have that sort of a boxier look. And I probably have to shape it up a bit just to get it wet and to kind of tug on it until it gets to the right shape. But that's all there is to it. Now, all I have left is this button, and you figure it's got to go probably right there. So I have some string, and I have it tied in a knot at the end, so that when I do this, here we go, I can go up into here, back through here, through here, and then in between these. And that way it's nice and secure and it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Boom. One down. Okay. Now the trick is trying to get the needle to come out in the right area. And since I can't see inside of the bag, it all has to be kind of done, I feel, without jabbing myself in the finger. There we go. Whoa, almost pulled the string out of the needle. I personally don't enjoy threading needles, so use a bit of caution there. Okay, that's two. One more to balance that, and I think we're good. Trying to keep all the strings in the same general vicinity. Of course, that sometimes can make it really hard to pull the needle through. Pair of pliers. Total win. All right, now that's enough for this, but we want these strings in between to be held out. So what I'm going to do with that, bring out the needle one more time. Go around the whole thing like that. Around again. And then I'll knot it off. And that way, that little bit there just kind of gives it a little bit of a rise. And that way it makes it easier when it comes to trying to button it up. Just going to knot the hell out of this. You don't want it coming undone. Okay, so pile of wasted string, a finished bag with a very stylish button, and it's ready to go. Maybe we'll get this out in the mail, and hopefully she really likes it. I think she will. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. So, I don't know. Hopefully you guys learned something out of this. Until next time, don't get your strings in a bunch.